Yay! Okay, yay! Oh boy. So I needed to at least stream a little bit. Haven't done any writing yet. So that's the thing. So welcome back, everybody. Here I am. Um, oh yeah. And this is how I can tell that I work better at night than trying to write first thing in the morning, because I just didn't have time this morning. I was trying to get everything done. I know you have to make time for writing, but morning brain does not work for writing for me. I know that ideally it's midday or evening. Don't know why that is, just is. But that's okay. That's okay. My brain is in a good spot, and I have an idea of where it's going. Kind of exciting about it. Exciting. Oh, okay. I'm not going to be using words to craft stories later on anyway. It's fine. So yeah, do I have much to talk about tonight? I don't know. I haven't done the thing I was going to. I mean, I did stuff last night after I talked to you guys, because I think I was wrapping it up. I don't remember now. That was so yesterday. But I was watching somebody else do their what was it? They'd been celebrating their 3 years on YouTube. And I thought to myself that, if you look back on it, I've been on YouTube for a while, but for a while. I mean, if you can kind of go back to some of my older stuff, it's not any better. It doesn't get this is where I have to say that there are people who are professional YouTubers, and that's their thing. This is not my thing. I love doing it because it's just fun for me, but it's also my kind of way of processing what I'm trying to work on, because I like to talk things out sometimes, not all the time. And that works well for me. And I also love to tell the stories, to read out stories. I love doing that because, yeah, it just puts me there. Also, it reminds me of, especially when it's my dad's stuff. I love reading my dad's stuff because it not only does it help me edit, but it also helps bring me into the story. I can start imagining it. So it helps with my creative process. And you guys get a story. So I kind of figure that's kind of a dual serving kind of situation here, where it's everyone wins. I get to edit in my brain. I get to kind of hear the story out loud. I get to practice reading, because someday, when we're all allowed back out in public without masks, I'll be able to do some. Although I've seen other writers doing book signings with masks, but they are braver people than I am. And maybe I'm just using that as an excuse for my agoraphobia. Or, maybe it's just that I'm being cautious, and I'll just say I'm being cautious. That's my word. I'm being cautious. I'm clearly not just afraid of people and not wanting to be around people. I think it's little column A, little column B there. But I do see myself eventually going back out into bookstores, doing readings at bookstores or coffee shops. I really love the idea of that, because I now have 3 books I can do that with, which reminds me I have to order the book that I published that somebody else already. Normally one would order a proof copy of a book when one self-publish, publishes a book. That would not be me. I did not do that. I just assumed that it would look really good. Luckily, Luckily, the person who ordered it, it looks like, from what I've seen in the pictures, it looks good. But I need to remember to always do the proof copy and take my time to get the rest of it done. That was my lesson learned. I just got really, really super lucky. I'm hoping that it is luck and not just some really clever photography on their part. But we'll see, because I will have to order copies eventually. And I do want to do like mini book tours around the Lower Mainland. But that's a little ways off. That like is once it's safe to go back out there. Anyway, let's see here. So yeah, she was talking about where she was in her author journey. And if I go back 3 years, 3 years was right as I think I was starting to do edits on the Search for the Unicorns. And the Search for the Unicorns ended up being published in, the ebook came out in August of 2018, and the hard copy came out shortly after that. I think it was like September, October. So that was the first real experience of trying to self-publish a book, not a comic book. See, because I'd been doing comic books for years, so I thought I knew everything there was to know about publishing because they're both books. How different could it be? Except for it's night and day. Like, they're just different animals that just happen to occupy a similar shape. Like, there's just so many different nuances, and which is silly because it doesn't really have to be different. Like, that's one of the things that's always bothered me. It does not have to be different. Like, comic books and novels can be the same. They can be marketed the same way. Because, and for those of you who want to fight me on this, I will tell you this. I'll bring up one genre. Well, it's not really a genre, but like one type of book is like children's illustrated books. They're considered books. They're marketed like books. Yet they also have a large amount of images in them. You know, what about coffee table books? Those also have large amounts of images in them. And especially coffee table books, they have like high quality pictures in them. So how do they differ from comic books? I mean, and I'm not talking about story-wise, because obviously. But when you talk about formatting-wise, when you talk about, or how do comic books differ from magazines? Now, magazines are still also marketed slightly different, but at one time, magazines and comic books were actually marketed the same. They had that's why comics were also, distributed through newsstands, because they were shipped like magazines. They were treated like magazines. You could have subscriptions for comics, and I don't mean like the online digital stuff. You could get your, and I think you could still do that. No, I don't know that people do that, but you used to be able to like cut out part of your comic. So in older comics, you'll sometimes see like squares missing where they had to like mail in their new comic to subscribe to it, like a magazine. So, which is why you had your monthly issues, because they were basically just magazines for, with images in them. I don't know. And I don't know where I was going with that. Aside from my rant about how I really find it frustrating that comics and books get treated differently, even though they're not exactly the same, but they have similar format, and I just, yeah, they're slightly different media, but there's no reason why they can't be marketed the same way, is what I'm saying. Or at least, at the very least, why they go back to their similar comics and magazines, because there's a crossover between books and magazines. But that was my little rant for the day on distribution and books and comics and magazines, which I wasn't expecting, but I never do because I don't script. I'm sorry. I know I was watching this other person, same person who was doing their 3-year, and she's talking about how she has everything scripted out. And I'm just like, I want that. I can't do it, but I want that. The closest time I'm ever do anything scripted is when I'm doing my reading. But then it's not even really a script because I'm just literally reading a manuscript, which I'd like to be able to do a little more. I need to get back into practicing it because I feel like I fell down a bit over Christmas and I kind of got away from it. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, and then one thing I did find, which was interesting, probably to nobody, well, it will eventually be interesting to other people and eventually interesting to you guys, is that I found this one piece. Actually, that's not true, because if you go way back in my YouTube Twitch channel, I don't know if I saved my Twitch video, but I know that it's on YouTube. I read some short stories that my dad had written. They're called the Alsbanian Tales. No, Tales of Asban. Tales of Alsban. And today I found another short story that belongs in there. And it was really, really exciting because it's actually not only that, but they turn out to be like, because the story, it's a long thing, but there's this it's a massive overarching multi-story epic, and it's got it's got everything. It's basically my dad's version of Lord of the Rings, but not Lord of the Rings. It's got other stuff going on in it, which is its own thing, which is good. But like many fantasy authors will tell you, and readers will tell you, that a lot of things are derivative from Tolkien. Because why not? Because it's, there's basically a touchstone for a lot of people. And it was formative for a lot of people, my dad included. But no, the exciting part is just finding this extra story. And it got me excited again about the series, which you may ask me, why am I not reading more of it? That's because I really want to be able to publish things sooner. And it's going to take a lot because I have to actually scan it in, run OCR on it, which is character recognition, which takes pictures of letters and translates it into typed text so that you can actually work with it. Why not just simply use like the PDF and off you go? Because it's rough, raw manuscript. It needs to be edited still. Otherwise, I would just, and away you go. But it still needs to be edited. So I have the first book. I don't know it's the first book. It's the first book that he wrote, even though there's stuff that comes before it, which is the Tales of Alsban. I believe that comes before this. And then there's the Guardian of the Sword, which comes after that. people aren't sure of order. It happened with the Tales of Narnia. Those kind of got out of order because of whatever reason, I don't know. But that's an example. And what I'm about to be doing is going to be another example, because I'm trying to work on it, because it's all like one of the novels has been scanned in already. Well, actually, the only thing that hasn't been scanned in is the new piece of manuscript I just found today. I'm going to probably scan that in later. I want to do that. I think I'm going to do that when I start reading. I'm going to start reading everything over. Like, I'm going to start reading the Tales of Alsben, and also the Chronicles of Aventure, which is the name of the whole series, Chronicles of Aventure. I want to start reading that, but I think I'm going to do that next year when I can actually start. I've been working on trying to translate this manuscript for like over a year now, because basically what's happened is when I ran the OCR on it, it mangled the script. There's still words there, so it's roughly about as fast as for me to type it as it is for me to edit it. So I'm just editing as fast as I can ish when I have the moment, but I can't have that be my whole thing, because it's such a different thing, because first I have to translate it into English and then redo it, like then edit it and then go through the process. So once I get it translated to English, then I'll read it. But that's only the first novel, the Chronicles of Aventure. I still have to finish translating. I have one of the Tales of Alsben. I have one of them completely converted to English from gibberish. That's why I say, when I say translated English, I'm not translating from like French. I'm translating from computer gibberish. And so I have at least one of those stories done. But I'd like to get maybe about halfway through that, and then I'll start reading everything. But I just have to get my act together and finish editing that, which is coming down the pipe much later, because I have other things that are closer to being publishable that I kind of want to get through first. Save the best for later. Yeah. But that is not the writing that I was supposed to be talking about right now. I'm off on another tangent. I'm very sorry, everybody. I'll make up for it when I start reading you the story about it, because it's actually pretty interesting. Okay. Yeah. But neither here nor there. I have some writing to get to. I have roughly 2.5 hours to get it done. Maybe a little bit longer. So I got to go do that. And because I've got no writing in, and I was feeling lofty and wanted to have 2,000 words for today. Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can even. I know I can get my minimum in, but I want to see if I can get more than my minimum in. And let's see. So, trying to do math. Yeah, so if I work solidly for an hour and a half, this could be doable. But I have 3 scenes I want to work on. I'll see if I can get those done and where that takes me. I think I might actually work like that, because I've been working on I've always, like, for the longest time, I've been working on a time frame and trying to get things done within that time frame, which seems to help with getting all the words out, but it doesn't really help for my processing. But that's okay. Anyway, they can't all be good. I'm sorry, I was really rambling tonight. I hope somebody found this kind of interesting. So I guess, my question for night is for YouTube anyway, because I think they can comment afterwards. I better double check that, because I'd feel bad if I'm like asking you guys questions and you can't comment. But Twitch, hi. Actually, Twitch, you guys get special treatment because you get streaming during the week. Like when I'm not even doing my vlogs, you get streaming during the week when I'm reading stories, and I'm reading stories to you right now. YouTube, well, yeah. I'll ask you if you're able to comment down below. I think you could be commenting down below. I don't know. You could be if you wanted to, as long as it's appropriate. But my thought is, what are you working on? Are you working on anything? Are you writing? Or are you doing something else? Are you more watching this because you're like, get to the story person? Why aren't you reading a story? Let me know. Because maybe I can start, I don't know. I can read parts of my, nah. Yeah, I mean, I'm already reading stories for you guys. Both of you. And Twitch, I'll be doing that tomorrow. YouTube, I'm sorry. I don't know I don't know. Like, I'm late as it is, and we'll see if I can get some video edited tomorrow morning. We'll see. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to sign off for tonight, and I will talk to you all tomorrow, because I'll be doing my update for tomorrow. So I'll talk to you then. Have a good night.